Hey everyone, my name is Sheng. Welcome to my channel where I talk about professional and personal growth. If you've been here for a while, you know that I make a lot of videos about mind mapping because it is one of the best ways or one of the best tools that I have to organize life's chaos, be it professional or personal. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I use mind mapping for product design. And in my professional life, I've designed everything from mobile applications, websites, to even white papers. It is a very versatile tool that I pretty much always keep on hand for any kind of design work. So in this video, I'm going to go through why I use mind maps in the first place for product design, my workflow, and finally give you an example to show all the concepts in practice. There will also be a follow-up video to this where I will show a more complex product example. But without further ado, let's get to it. So why do I use mind maps for product design? Well, there's two reasons. The first one is that it fleshes out my ideas and really lays out the individual components of a product. For example, in a mobile application, there could be 4 to 5 different tabs. And each of these tabs have their own menus, graphics, functions, user journeys. And a mind map is able to just explode out the full complexity of a product so that you can actually see them as both individuals without losing the entire landscape or the overall product, and also be able to see the different interactions perhaps between the different components. That's the first reason. The second reason why I use mind maps is that it helps to build consensus with my team. Before I even touch any kind of design software, I will mind map out all of the entire, basically the roadmap or the blueprint of the product and share that with my team members. Help them understand how everything comes together before I put in the effort of actually designing the product. So you can think of the mind map as the blueprint for the product itself. So let's talk about the 4 steps in my workflow. Number 1, mind mapping. Number 2, building consensus/approval. Number 3, wireframes. And then finally, high fidelity mockups. Oh, and I guess number 5 is actually working and working with the developer or whoever's making the product to make it happen. So the mind mapping, as I mentioned, is basically the blueprint of the product. And then with that, I am going through it with the stakeholders. It could be my CTO, the project manager, the CEO, whoever, or even the customer, right? Just to understand, hey, is this what you're looking for? Does this product meet your specifications? Do the user journeys make sense? So it's a great way to gather feedback, and then you can update the mind map, go through that review process, and then after that's approved, I will wireframe out basically rough mock-ups of how the product will actually look, and then go back to stakeholders, share that, and then finally, once that's approved, I will design the final product, the high fidelity mock-ups that will be ready to be given to the front-end developer for actually creating it. All right, so let's go through an example. The one that I'm going to use is actually the company website of my current startup. And 2 years ago, we actually had to rehaul the entire thing and design it from scratch. So it was actually a really good opportunity to revisit what are the essential things that we want to get across from the site. And the first step that I did was mind map, of course. So here you can kind of see like the final product of it. And then we're going to go through how I actually designed this whole thing. Cool, let's get to it. All right, so the program that I'm using here is called iThoughtsX. I'll leave a link down and below. So it's basically just an electronic means to do it, to do mind mapping. I sometimes will do it using pen and paper or my iPad, but I find that for product design at least, because eventually you want to share this with other people, doing it digitally will overcome the challenge of trying to explain chicken scratch writing, which is basically mine. All right, so let's get to it. You start with the company site, and then I thought about what are the different components? Again, like a mind map is to break down the components of a product. So for a website, it's home, product, and about, right? There's also navigation, but this is kind of minor. So these are the three main pages of it. And thinking through what is it that we want to essentially achieve with each page. Home, what is it supposed to do? Well, a homepage for any website is basically to tell you a few things, right? Like, what is the product about? What are the main features? What's the value proposition? So all these things a mind map needs to cover. So let me just expand out everything for now, so you get a sense of like what is in each. But anyways, we'll focus on home first, right? So for the home page, there is often a hero visual. So this is the video or the image that will pop up the first time that you load a product or a website, right? It's the first impression. So this needs to be very, very visual, or very, what's the word? And then, so the hero visual basically just needs to be a stunner to attract people's attention, right? The description of the product, a video trailer, after people get intrigued by the first two, and then the features of the product, and for us, there was a map and contact us. So, these are the components of the homepage that I thought could essentially achieve the goal of getting somebody who is new to the site interested. All right, so let's check out what's under each part. All right, so the hero visual. What this is we decided on a 30-second clip. It will also have a tagline that we want to show. So right here already, I've got two versions of it, right? Because I'm basically sharing these two choices with the stakeholders. In this case, it was my CEO. So I asked him, hey, which one is the better sounding one, right? The fastest way to make cities AR ready, or the fastest way to enable cities with AR? We ended up going with number one. But this essentially will lay out all the different choices so that your stakeholders can agree on something. And then the next one is a description right here. Finally, a video trailer of the different demos that we've done. So features is interesting, right? So for us, I wanted iconography, as well as the description name. So I put these icons here to show what kind of icons I want to use. Demo GIFs, YouTube link, and then finally a map of our coverage. So, okay, I've blabbed on about basically these different components. You might be wondering, how does this actually look in practice, right? So let's take a look, right? So you'll see here the home page design is right here. This is a program called Sketch. And you've got the hero image/video and the tagline, the description, the YouTube video, the features, the demo GIFs, and finally the map, right? So note that this entire sequence of this web page reflects that of this sequence too. Hero visual all the way down to the map and contact us, right? And this is on purpose. This is the wireframe. The mind map is essentially the blueprint for the product. At this stage, you're just trying to build consensus on, hey, what should actually go into the final product. So you may have noticed that I skipped over pretty much the entire, the rough wireframe stage. That's because a website is a relatively simple product. So once I can get consensus on these components, I just go ahead and design basically the high fidelity final product that can be, or a final design that can be shipped over to our engineers to create. So anyways, the next one is product, right? You'll see from here, we've got another hero image and tagline, the different steps in which our technology materializes, a product diagram, and finally FAQs. So the product page, the whole purpose of it is so that it gives a more in-depth information about what we do, what we provide. And you can see here, This is basically the MyMap version of that. This is what I create before I put any design work in order to get some feedback from my team, right? And finally, the About section has the team photo, basically the text body, contact us, some of the news mentions, the public, the PR stuff that we've done. And yeah, it's right here. See, you got the photo, you got the text, and you got the contact us and the PR stuff, right? So all of this is reflected in the MyMap, all three of these pages, okay? Right, yeah, I think navigation is pretty self-explanatory, right? You got your header, your different pages, your footer, website links, contact and social links. So yeah, that is basically in a nutshell how to use MyMaps for product design, at least in the very beginning part of it before you put in any kind of design effort. So in the next video, I'm actually going to be showing you how another example of a much more complex product, which is my company's developer product, developer portal. Cool. All right. I'll see you next time.